So I don't know if it's just it would be a lost opportunity not to have Terps be able to say hello to their the president of University of Maryland, and I'm looking at Jerry Shapiro as I say that, among others, who I know are on the call, and I know that they would certainly want to express their give a welcome.
Let's go Terps.
Yes, Jim Martinko, there we are.
Let's go Terps.
Yep, Andy Bridge.
Good to see you again, Dr.
Good to
Pines.
see you.
Well, very good, Gigi. I'm going to go ahead and
Yes, sir.
introduce Dr. Pines. So I would say, first of all, welcome back, President Pines. It's great to see you. Great to have you. It's been more than a year. I guess it was October of 2020 that you joined us as a board guest speaker. And I got to say, I was just reading through your bio, and I'm not going to read that to folks. I think we have it available. But just some highlights out of there. I know you became president in July of 2020, and I'm sure time has flown by just a little bit since you became president. But you arrived on campus I guess in 1995, and really spent a big part of your time there in the engineering department. And I looked at all your accolades in engineering, and I guess it's safe to say you truly are a rocket scientist, right? I mean, is that your technical term? It's just some really very impressive things there, and you've done a lot since you've been president, especially around diversity and raising the profile of the university and the funding that you're bringing into bear, and just really bringing the University of Maryland up on a national and international basis. It's really neat to see. But I won't read the whole bio. I can tell you. Jumps out at me, you're a very smart guy. So congratulations on all that you're doing. You really represent the university and the state of Maryland so well, and we're very thrilled to have you with us today. And I know, as Gigi mentioned, that you were recently honored by the Chamber's Visionary Award winner back in November of 2021 at our Business Awards broadcast as our visionary leadership, especially around quantum computing. But we're very excited that you're here today, and we're very much looking forward to what you have to say. So I think we will just save up the questions until the end of your presentation, and we will go from there. So please, Dr.
And I
Pines.
did want to mention one other thing, Dr. Pines, is that your award was presented by our economic development partner, and Ben Wu is also on this call because he sponsored and presented your award. And I know that you are partners on so much of our region's economic development efforts. So thank you.
And just one last thing, because I really wasn't aware of this until just a little bit of research, that the University of Maryland is such an economic engine, an economic force to this region, with a budget of over $2 billion. So as we are Chamber of Commerce, that's an important aspect of what the University of Maryland brings. So without further ado, please, Dr. Pines.
Well, thank you, Lowell, and thank you, Gigi, and thank you, Ben, also for the award, and hello, Terps, fellow Terps as well, and then good evening to the rest of the Montgomery, obviously, Chamber of Commerce. It's County Chamber of Commerce. It's very delightful for me to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. As you know, we're neighbors, and we are both interested in strengthening education, research, and the business climate in our wonderful, great state of Maryland. I want you to know that the university is very much open to business and collaborations in every regard. So I'm relatively still new to the presidency. I did come in 2020 to speak to this body. So I'm now 22 months into this job, but I'm not new to the region. As you heard from Lowell, I've been at the university for 27 years. It's really carried me through most of my professional life. I came up as an assistant professor, rose to chair of the aerospace engineering department, and eventually became dean of the A. James Clark School of Engineering. And later, of course, to become president, as where I'm at now. I've been deeply involved over all my time at the university with Montgomery College, IBBR, USG, Lockheed Martin in Bethesda, Department of Energy up near Gaithersburg in Germantown, NIST, and of course the biotechnology industry, and developing our campus innovation ecosystem. I'm deeply committed to keeping it strong and growing. The University of Maryland, as you said, Lowell, is an engine of economic growth, not just for the region, but for the entire state. And we are dedicated to remaining doing that for the time forward. And so on my first day as president, I said that I had two high priorities: to strive for excellence in everything that we do, from the arts, academics, and athletics to creative expression and innovation. And then number two, to create a multicultural and inclusive community where every person that comes to College Park can reach their full potential. I'm deeply proud of the fact that we have made enormous progress on both fronts. As of today, the University of Maryland now has a total of 74 programs that rank in the top 25 of US News and World Report. That's up by 14 from 60 in 2016. We've also accomplished many of the initiatives and recommendations I announced on my very first day on the job to reaffirm our commitment to our core mission and values and to one another. We raised more than $334 million for student support as part of our $1.5 billion Fearless Ideas campaign, including scholarships, awards, and programs, and nearly $2 million in donations just for the Student Crisis Fund during COVID, providing critical aid to over 3,000 students during the pandemic. During COVID-19 pandemic, we also made the important decision to have the SAT and ACT tests be optional and began accepting the Common App as a way to get more enrollment and more applications into College Park. In conjunction with these two initiatives, one being test optional and one getting into the Common App, we have had an explosion in applications at College Park. This past cycle, we've had 56,000 applications. That's above what we used to get, around 37,000. And the admitted students' weighted average GPA is 4.45. Thank God the requirements to be president are much lower than the requirements to be a freshman at College Park, or I never could get in. This past fall, this is also the most interesting thing and significant statement related to the fall entering class. Last fall, we had the first time in our history, we were a majority students of color out were the majority students for the freshman class. It was 48% to 44%. It's the first time ever at College Park. So our demographic is changing. We've also continued to invest in our infrastructure in our community. Our Greater College Park Initiative, a nearly $3 billion public-private partnership, is reimagining how the university and the town of College Park can come together in service to the greater good by attracting artists, innovators, scientists, entrepreneurs to 5 square miles of innovation, invention, and discovery. More than 60 companies now, organizations, and federal agencies are already spread across 2 million square feet of office space, retail, residential, and research space, and they have brought 6,500 employees to realize the promise of this very new home in our Discovery District. The purple line, of course, is our lifeline and connective tissue between the two counties. By connecting Bethesda and New Carrollton with a 16-mile light rail project that has 5 stops in College Park, we have an opportunity to create and strengthen and promote one of the most dynamic tech corridors in the world. We will have, along that connective line, the world's largest biomedical institution, which is NIH in Montgomery County, the world's second largest medical foundation, Howard Hughes Medical Institute in Montgomery County, one of the world's largest collections of earth science researchers with NOAA Silver Spring, NOAA College Park, NASA Goddard, Pacific Northwest Laboratories in College Park, and of course the University of Maryland. Headquarters for the world's largest society of physicists, the American Center of Physics in College Park. A publicly traded biotech company in United Therapeutics in Silver Spring. Our world-class research university is the largest in the DMV region and links to the MARC line, Metro and Amtrak that connect Baltimore and DC and up to New York City and Boston. This is one way to make sure our entire region is where creativity and innovation can come together to nurture the next big thing, whatever that might be. One example, as you have heard from me before, is IonQ, a company co-founded by a distinguished faculty member named Chris Monroe with technology he developed on our campus. IonQ is selling a revolutionary quantum computer designed to solve problems too difficult for current technology. Their product is gaining computing power and leading a very competitive international race. I would call it a next space race on this technology front. Last fall, IonQ had an initial public offering and now trades on the New York Stock Exchange, has tripled in size and is growing to now more over 100 employees. Dr. Monroe and physics colleagues are actively driving support for a national quantum initiative to make the U.S. the leader of this technology. The university itself continues to invest in quantum research, and we have over 200 scientists and engineers working at our national hub. I would also like to thank the Chamber's Board of Directors for recognizing the University of Maryland with the Visionary Award for Leadership in Quantum Computing at the 2021 Business Awards Ceremony. The road to quantum computing goes through College Park, and that's good for Prince George's County, but it's also good for Montgomery County and the entire state of Maryland and our nation. Quantum science and technology is just one example of the university's thriving research enterprise that translates its social and economic benefit to the rest of the world. In the last fiscal year, we set a new record for research grants awarded, over $600 million. This success continues to attract the top talent and businesses that want to locate and partner in the region to work on the next big thing. Not only are we an economic engine for both Prince George's County and Montgomery County and one of their biggest employers, but we are working consistently to be good collaborative neighbors. We join extensively with businesses and startups to help them expand or gain footing in the marketplace. For example, our Clark School of Engineering administers an array of business-friendly programs such as research partnerships to help local startups and local businesses. Many startups have graduated from our incubator programs in the past 4 decades to produce over $40 billion in revenue and hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue for the state of Maryland. That's just one advantage to having one of the nation's top 20 public research universities as a neighbor. As you know, the University of Maryland College Park has a strong commitment to supporting education, research, and economic development activities in Montgomery County. I want to take this opportunity to highlight 4 unique partnerships that we share with Montgomery County. The Institute for Bioscience and Biotechnology Research, or commonly referred to as IBBR, was established by the University System of Maryland Board of Regents in 2010, building on the foundation of the Center for Advanced Research in Biotechnology, or CARB, and the Center for Biosystems Research, or CBR. IBBR unites distinguished scientists from the University of Maryland College Park, the University of Maryland Baltimore, and the National Institutes of Standards and Technology, or NIST. Our fellows come together across disciplines and institutions to discover tomorrow's next generation of biotechnology solutions. We are currently in discussions with our NIST colleagues about exciting new directions for drug therapies, for new diagnostics, for vaccines, and structural biology. So we're on really the cutting edge of what the new technology and new solutions for the next virus that may come and affect our community. These are exciting because they completely support existing economic development of the biotechnology activities currently underway at many businesses in Montgomery County. Partnership number 2, the universities at Shady Grove. USG was established in 2000 and offers select degree programs from 9 public Maryland universities on 1 convenient campus in Montgomery County. USG's innovative and pioneering partnerships approach to higher education is designed to connect local college students to outstanding career opportunities while providing regional employers with a highly educated, skilled workforce. The University of Maryland has several new degree programs to be offered at USG, including a biocomputation degree and an embedded systems degree. These programs are all unique and are not duplicated at the main campus. Their purpose is to meet the needs of industries looking for talent that can seamlessly transition to their companies. Partnership number 3, the National Institute for Standards and Technology. The University of Maryland and NIST have a long-standing partnership around collaborative research in several key areas, including biotechnology, cybersecurity, and of course, quantum science. The partnership between the institutions date back to the late 1970s and early 1980s, when the Center for Neutron Research and the Center for Advanced Research in Biotechnology was created and has grown to encompass additional UMD research centers. And finally, the emerging area of White Flint. The University of Maryland College Park and the University of Maryland Baltimore and the universities of Shady Grove have been meeting recently to discuss what might be possible and what we could do at White Flint. The discussions have evolved into potentially a strategic hub for the life sciences, medicine, and artificial intelligence and machine learning. While these discussions are in their very early stages, we see great potential of the three partners to partner with existing assets in White Flint and in Montgomery County to become a mecca for data discovery, data processing, and new discoveries of science as it relates to the life sciences and medicine. So it's exciting for the University of Maryland College Park to be a partner with Montgomery County in its innovation ecosystem and in its education and in its workforce training and development. What all of this means is that we have a place, an active set of initiatives that will continue to make our communities desirable and develop transit-friendly spots for everyone to plant roots and grow, for businesses, our students, and anyone looking for a dynamic home. So I thank you all for inviting me to share just a few short remarks about our collaboration and our collective future. And I look forward to answering any questions and working with all of you as we go forward together. Thank you.
Dr. Pines, thank you very much. So we'll open it up for questions, and we've got plenty of time for questions. So I think that is, that's super. And I've got a whole list, but I'm going to let some folks, if they want to jump in with a question, just you can just take yourself off mute, and then ask Dr. Pines a question. If not, I'll start. How about that? How about that? I start. I'm just curious. This is probably a little bit of a weird question, Dr. Pines, but first of all, what's it like to be president of the University of Maryland? And what's your typical day? Do you have a typical day, or is it like, I'm just curious, is it something that you go, is it a 12-hour day? Is it I'm just curious what it's like.
Well, I think every day, Lowell, thank you for the question. First, it's a privilege and an honor to lead this great flagship institution of the state of Maryland. It's an honor and privilege. I'm lucky. I love Maryland. I love the state of Maryland. I love the University of Maryland. I love what it means, what its impact to our state is, and how it competes for opportunities for our state. So for me, it's a privilege. I'll just share with you what my day was like yesterday. Maybe this will give you just an idea. It was a great day, by the way. So I was downtown at a meeting of what is called the Association of American Universities, or AAU, which are the leading research institutions in the United States. And there's about 62 of us. So all the ones you can think of: Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Berkeley, Maryland, and the same guys with all those schools. And so yesterday we were invited to go to the Capitol building and to sit down with Senator Rubio and Senator Warner, who both co-chair the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. And so they were speaking to university presidents and chancellors about the threats that they see facing our national security enterprise and the U.S. economy, as well as the U.S. education enterprise. And so they were asking us to be vigilant about issues related to human rights, intellectual property, cybersecurity, to make sure that our systems are resilient and that we are mindful of U.S. developed technology on our campuses, since we're all research institutions. So that's how my day started. That concluded around 11. I came back and I had a cabinet meeting with my senior leadership team of 14 people, which are vice presidents and senior directors of the university. And then I ended my meeting, my day, meeting with a donor who gave $25 million and having dinner at University House. So I had a great day, Lowell. And my day doesn't always go like that. There's usually a little crisis in the middle about something that someone in the 50,000 person operation that I run does something silly every day. So, but that was a great day yesterday because we got to meet with Senator Warner and Senator Rubio, and they answered our questions. And we ended up with celebrating a $25 million gift to the university. So
that's a good day in anybody's book. So Jim, I see your hand went up, and I can't see everybody, but maybe Julia, you can keep an eye on everyone. But I did see Jim Martinko from Co-Investment's hands up. Yes.
Yep, Dr. Pines, it's a pleasure to see you again. I think that we've met before. And I look forward to seeing some of your colleagues at the AIA meeting and reception.
Yeah.
I think it's a week from tomorrow, or maybe it's a
Right.
week from today. Love the new basketball coach.
Okay.
Very
I
hopeful.
was going to ask that question.
Yeah, very hopeful and love the sound system at the football stadium.
Good.
But I'm interested in your perspective. Uh, we're a national accounting firm. We hire 60 plus students from your great university annually, and I'm sure there are many other companies on this call. What are the thoughts and feelings of the undergrads with respect from the whole work from home phenomenon that we're doing everything that we can to encourage in-person teaming and collaboration. And although we're being successful with it, it's nowhere near the way it was certainly when I was growing up, and I'm a proud graduate, fall of 1986. When I walked those hallowed grounds of the university. But there's so much more, there's putting the human back in work. There's so much more to the experience than this, quite frankly, and what's the vibe on campus with respect to people entering into the workforce? Do you have any feel for that?
Yeah, I do actually. So the vibe, so this young generation, which is, as you know, the 21st century generation, and they are all been brought up with digital technology, and therefore they have connected through social media and through the same means of Zoom. And so they're very comfortable working in this environment. So that's something that all employers have to adapt to going forward. And then, of course, the pandemic caused really just remarkable changes in the ability to telework. And so I think this is part of your new normal. But what we are seeing, Jim, is that students, when they come for their college experience at a residential campus like ours, they still want to be here in person. The best education, as you mentioned, in teaming is still in person. It's still not digital, it's still in person. So we are still a residential campus. We still have these incredible outside the classroom experiences. They still want to have those experiences. They want to go on study abroad. They want to go on Capitol Hill if they're in public policy and government and politics. They still want to have those close-in contact experiences. So I think it's a matter of balance. Even in our world, it used to be 100% in person. Now I will tell you today that 25% of our classes are online or hybrid, and that's staying forever. It's not going to change. It may increase to 30% because they also want the flexibility, the ability to, see, to have extra time in their schedule, to be able to review the video of the lecture multiple times. So we've got to accommodate that, but the majority of the classes, 75%, are still in person. So I think the same thing you're going to see in your workforce demands in your new workforce, which will demand some level of flexibility, but also you'll be able to get some of them to come in and be in person for those teaming kinds of problem solving solutions.
Right, and I do think there's a mix, right? There's a balance.
There's a balance.
There to invest the time and expense and energy, not only to get up and be presentable, to get dressed, iron a shirt, to travel, commute, to spend money on gas, to spend money on parking. I told one of my employees the other day, I asked him if he liked to see concerts. And he goes, absolutely, I love live shows. I'm like, do you like to sit in the back or do you like to sit up front? Oh gosh, if I had the choice, I'd like to sit up front. Well, why is that? Well, it's a better experience. Oh, so you'd be willing to pay more to have a better experience. And that's what I'm trying to instill. Sometimes you have to invest to improve the experience that you're getting from your work environment. So it's just, we're very successful. We're on any given day, we're averaging 20 to 30 to 40%, and on some days we're over 50%. But I'm a proud parent of three daughters, and they don't listen to anything that I say, nor my wife. And I can imagine it's the same with some, but they have to learn. And I just don't want this next generation to realize in 5, 6, 10 years what they missed because they didn't take advantage, especially with their ability to advance
Right.
and to tone those skills that may not come as easily digitally as they are in person. But thanks again for your time. It's a pleasure to see you.
My pleasure, Jim.
Hey, this
I
is
see Chris has
Lowell.
raised his hand. I'm sorry. And I think I think we're going to have a number of lined up here for questions, but Apoorva, we'll start with Chris, and then we'll go to Ben, and then we'll go to is that okay, Apoorva? Then we'll go to you.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
Chris, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hi, Dr. Pines. How are you?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good, good. Actually, a newly elected board member as of today. And a new resident to Montgomery County. So forgive the newbie question here, but as I am learning a little bit more about the area, and you had mentioned something that was pretty unique and gets brought up at my company often, the life science trend, certainly in the White Flint district and area. Could you just, for someone personally who has spent my entire career in the commercial real estate world, I don't know much about the life science industry itself. So could you just elaborate a little bit on that? Who is the influx of work force coming from? And two, what does that practically mean, in your opinion, for that White Flint area? Is it more buildings? Is it an influx of workers? So on and so forth, just to kind of kick off that or follow up on that comment.
Well, Chris, I'm not an expert in life sciences, but I'll give you my perspective. Since you're new to the state, I'll take a slightly 100,000-foot level, and then I'll come back to Montgomery County. So, I've been in the state for 27 years. I believe, this is my personal opinion about the employment domains of the state. You have Baltimore City, which is a large employer of the city of the state's residents. You have a large base in southern Maryland, Patuxent River. It is a big employer in the state of Maryland. And you have some corridors of excellence. And one of the corridors of excellence is the life sciences, the pharmaceutical industry in the Montgomery County 270 corridor. I think all of us on this call would kind of perceive it as such. And then we have we've grown a cybersecurity industry that's in multiple places around the state, but one might argue it's along I-95, but it has some elements in Montgomery County, some elements in some other counties, but a large corridor of security, because we have an anchor of NSA as a large employer in the state of Maryland. And then we have lots of laboratories, over 20, 30 plus laboratories and agencies in the state of Maryland that provide an employment base. But one of the key pillars that we've always had in our region is the ability to be a competitor in the pharmaceutical, life sciences, and medicine area. Why? Because NIH is here, FDA is here, Johns Hopkins is here, University of Maryland, Baltimore here. So leading technology comes out of the laboratories of the state, both in the government and in academia, that leads to a number of startups that make residency in Montgomery County, Baltimore City, and other places in the state. So that's why I would argue that we will always be a strong player in the life sciences, medicine, pharmaceutical industry, as we have always played. The opportunity is to further double down and be the best. And we have all the capability to do that. White Flint was brought up for the following reasons, from my perspective. Again, this is Darryll Pines speaking. I'm not speaking on to represent Montgomery County. I speak just for myself. And the way I see it is that, we went after the region, the state of Maryland went after the opportunity to try to solicit Amazon to be in the state of Maryland. They decided to choose their headquarters to be in Northern Virginia. White Flint was the entity that was available, that was sort of ponied up as the opportunity for Amazon. So we lost that opportunity for that particular employer to bring that enterprise on Amazon to the state of Maryland, but that still opens up White Flint for another development opportunity. And since we are well known and very close to NIH in that location, it makes sense to be in the life sciences and medicine domain because it's what we're strong already in the corridor since we lost the opportunity to Amazon. So that's where I'm coming from. And so that's sort of the background and how I see it. And we have these incredible assets of the universities, the FDA and NIH, and we just need to turn that into translational opportunities that lead to startups and businesses that employ people in the state of Maryland.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. I think, Ben, you are next.
Thanks, Lowell. Hey, Darryll, I think I'm your biggest fan on this call, not just in the call, in life. But the reality is you've got so many fans on this call already. So I want to be respectful of the fact that the Montgomery County Chamber loves you. And one of the reasons because you've been such a champion for industry collaboration through the years, not just in your current position, but also when you were Dean of Engineering. And to that extent, I want to touch base on a issue that you had raised in your earlier remarks about the Purple Line, because the Purple Line, now it looks like it's literally and figuratively back on track. We're expecting that by 2025, it'll connect New Carrollton to Bethesda, but it'll intersect at the heart of College Park and also go through Silver Spring. And we see great opportunities to further collaboration with University of Maryland College Park, whether it's undergraduate or graduate housing to make Silver Spring an adjunct for College Park in Montgomery County, because it's a 10-minute Purple Ride line, whether it's industry partnerships that can be created for externships, apprenticeships at perhaps United Therapeutics over in Silver Spring, Marriott in Bethesda, Fox 5 in Bethesda. So if you could touch base a little bit about this, because we spoke about this together just on Sunday, but you have a vision that I wanted to see if you could also share with the rest of this folks on this call.
Well, no, that vision's only for you. It's classified, Ben. It was just for you.
But it's a great vision, though. I think you should declassify it because I think everybody will want to know about it.
Well, so Ben and I were at what was it? It was a brunch at the Chancellor's Hidden Waters residence over the weekend. So basically, we were talking about we really have this unique opportunity because, again, of the assets that are in Montgomery County. That are all in the domain of medicine, life sciences, corporations, government, and academia. And one of the unique things that we have access to is an opportunity to get access to data at NIH. And there's all kinds of data that I'm not going to go through the different types of data sets that are available. But now if we can take that data through the leveraging of artificial intelligence and machine learning, that we can sit and mine that data will lead to new discoveries. And those new discoveries will lead to new vaccines, new devices. And so it's a great opportunity for us to leverage those assets. And White Flint could be a potential area in which that could be done. So that's kind of the discussion that Ben and I were having with another colleague. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that University of Maryland, Baltimore, University of Maryland College Park, and NIST and Johns Hopkins put in a proposal to the Chan Zuckerberg Institute Foundation. And essentially it was along this thread of the use of novel devices in situ, along with AI and ML, to do precision medicine and data and to get information about individual humans and to be able to better predict their health, better diagnose, better prognose. And so we submitted that proposal, and we're trying to figure out if we were to be funded, where that would be located. And we're thinking about that might be somewhere located either at Shady Grove or possibly at White Flint. Now it's just a proposal, but it's gone in, and it's probably one of the rare moments, and I'll say this respectfully, where Johns Hopkins and the University of Maryland, Baltimore and the University of Maryland College have actually collaborated on something. And so it's great that that has happened. And we're hope that we will be successful in our region to kind of energize this precision medicine idea. So.
Great, thank you. So Apurva, I think, and maybe as you ask the question, if you could just say what organization you represent. And
you bet.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lowell. Dr. Pines, pleasure to meet you. I'm a big fan, like Dr. Wu said, and I met my wife on these steps here. I want to tell you, I met my wife here, and I probably like many, come from a multi-generation Terrapin family. In fact, I have a senior there now and a sophomore. So
Excellent.
Really appreciate all the great strides that, again, my name is Apurva Ghani. I'm from Marriott International, just 25 minutes from you. So appreciate everything you've brought to the university. Wanted to key in a little bit around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And one, just offer up Marriott International to be a partner with you on that journey. University of Maryland's already done so many great things, but would just love to offer our assistance as you continue bringing all that diverse thinking and diversity and inclusion and belonging into your student body. So please know you can always call on me and call on us. Wanted to also just talk to you about, maybe it's less of a question, but more of another offer. We'd love to be able to tell the story of how hospitality is a great place for students. I think a lot of times, given all the different industries in our area, there's a lot of competing industries. And we'd love to bring hospitality, not just for Marriott, but Hilton's here, Choice is here, we're here. So as you think of opportunities where we can come tell that story, we'd love to be a part of it with you and provide not just jobs, opportunities in our hotels, but at all of our headquarters for the great graduates at the University of Maryland. So I just offer that to you and say thank you for everything you're doing.
Well, thank you, Apurva. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sending your two children to College Park. That's always so important because it means that not only that you are from College Park, but you believe it's a great education that your children will get as well. By the way, we've been in conversations with Choice Hotels about unfortunately not with Marriott, but with Choice Hotels. So maybe you and I should talk offline because I don't want to give up the ideas to the broad group. But I think they're in alignment to what you're saying. There's strategic areas that would advance innovation and business practices within Choice, and those same technologies would support also Marriott. So maybe we should have a sort of another conversation about that. And it was to, again, energize the industry, but also streamline some things by leveraging some technology and some other things that we were going to work with them on. So I think we could talk about that as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'd love to figure out a way that we can just build that pipeline of great graduates into Marriott International and by extension the hospitality industry. Terps do well here at Marriott, so we'd like to continue that.
That's great.
Great. So Gigi, maybe you can connect us if that's all right, please. Great.
It would be my pleasure. It would be my pleasure. Consider it done.
All right. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you, Dr. Pines.
All right, you're welcome.
I don't see any other hands right now, but I'm sure they'll pop up. But I am curious, Dr. Pines, all the work that you've done around the diversity issue, from your perspective, what can the business community learn from the work that you've done at the University of Maryland around that very issue? Are there some things that you are frustrated about that you see maybe in the business community that we could take something and learn something from your work at the University of Maryland?
I think from a leadership perspective, here I'll just give you what we've been doing. It's not my role to tell industry what to do. But I think it's important that, if you're the leader of your organization or at the leadership in the C-suite, to be intentional about your desires for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as Apurva said, belonging, because diversity is about numbers. Inclusion is about having everybody at the table. Equity is about fairness. But you want all of your employees to belong and feel that they belong at your institution, your corporation. So most of this is about culture, and it takes a long time to change culture to make it feel, and all of you do this in some way or form, just like universities do. So uh, what we try to do is onboard every citizen, faculty, staff, and student to our traditions, our values, our mission, and an understanding of we want everyone to reach their full potential. You know, simple foundational things. So we created an onboarding program, as you possibly have at your corporations. But that also talks about our values. It talks about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It talks about treating others with respect. It talks about our traditions and what we expect from everyone, and sort of gives a sort of foundational ground level of how we expect everyone to interact with one another, right? So that's the first step. But since we're dealing with such young people, it's kind of easy to mold them, right? And then the next step, so that's the first step. Everybody has to do that, which is a series of videos that are short that every human being has to take upon entry into the University of Maryland. That's the first step. That's faculty, staff, and students. And then because we have curriculum, we can embed it in curriculum where we do some sensitive conversations about race, racism, religion, gender, etc., to again bring up a foundational level of understanding, because most people are simply just ignorant. So these are the first steps. And then we give them experiences where we show how diversity, equity, and inclusion, when you build diverse teams, and I was in engineering, my entire life, and as you all know, engineering requires teams to solve problems. And teams are true not just in engineering, but everything we do. And as you know, from your business practices, when you bring diverse teams to solve a problem, it tends to yield the best solution in every possible way. So we give them examples of that. And so since we're a learning environment, it sort of it behoves us to do that. And then now it has to happen in policies as well. So now we go into our policies, our employment practices, our equity practices, so that now we require, for example, in our pool of, say, finalist candidates for a leadership position, we require that a diverse candidate, whatever that diversity is in that finalist pool. You can't make a decision. And if you don't have that person in the finalist pool, then you need to demonstrate why you can't find that person in the finalist pool for you to actually be given approval to make an affirmative decision on your finalists. So that has helped a lot, because what that has done by just that little policy, it's opened up other networks where now people look into those other networks that they didn't look into, that found high quality candidates to come into the pool. Now, those persons may have not gotten the job, but now it's opened up the networks, and that's part of what we can do by policy. So, but I think the most important part is leaders being intentional and not just saying the words, but finding ways to actually do it in practice, and then communicating that to all stakeholder groups at your corporations, and then having a few policies that help build that culture of inclusivity and a sense of belonging. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Actually, Dr. Pines, I have two entirely different questions. One of which is, my goodness, you've got a how many $billion annual budget? And I always like to ask who's got money and who's spending it, so that my companies know, what are some of the things you're thinking about doing? What kind of business partners are you looking for? What problems do you have to solve? So that we can be part of the solution, or reach out, help you find solutions to, to some of the, or great minds, to tackle some of the problems you're grappling with.
Yeah, so we're 2.4 billion, operating budget. We are currently building 6 buildings on campus. 5 of them are, 6 buildings. 4 of them are state funded, and 2 of them are privately funded. So if you're in the architecture, construction, electrical contractor, other contractor domains, then get in contact with our Vice President for Administration and Operations, Carlo Colella, and get on our list of contractors to get opportunities for those businesses. We have God knows how many public-private partnerships now going on. And those all involve real estate development. Uh, like I said in my remarks, it's about an estimate of nearly $3 billion of projects out there that we're working on in partnerships. We own the land, we do long-term leases, and we get developers to help build out the properties. So there's opportunities with our development partners, again, in the real estate domain, in the construction domain, in the design, architecture domain, and that spans retail, research labs, and residential, because we're doing all phases. So again, opportunities if you're in that space. In the research space, we're always looking for partners in our strategic areas of research. So you heard me mention quantum, you heard me mention AI, ML, which is artificial intelligence, machine learning. Obviously, broadly, the life sciences and biosciences area, we do a lot of collaborations with industry and government. We did a proposal to the Chan Zuckerberg Foundation. It involved 4 universities, but it involved some corporate partners as well. So I think, just aligning with some of our strategic interests allows us to have a collaboration. And that leads to either third-party funds that we all share. So there's always opportunity. But I don't want to go on and on, but there are many things you can do.
Well, there are a lot of, I know many great opportunities there. And I recall reading some time ago that that also Department of Defense funds quite a lot of research that University of Maryland performs. Is that still true?
Absolutely. So if you're, so we do a lot of defense. I think of the 600 million, I would say 200 million is defense awards. So the other thing, we work very closely with 3-letter agencies. So we are in the security domain, and it's all classified work that we do as well with 3-letter agencies in that space. It's just getting hooked up with the right people at our institution. We are doing some work for the Department of Defense in the intelligence area, which is really important. That again is in partnership with ODNI. So if you're in that space, I can connect you to the right people. So it just depends, on where you connect into the university and where your strengths are. That makes sense. But we do a lot of activities with the Department of Defense. So
Thank you. Actually, my second question is completely in the other direction, and it's inspired by a Jeffersonian dinner I attended, which is entirely Lowell's fault that happened. But and the question that was posed by the moderator was to describe a moment during the last 2 years. It was pretty much aimed at managing through the pandemic, where you really had to grapple with what was that moment or that event that challenged you and that was pivotal for you, that where you really pivoted personally, professionally, for heaven knows, for where you are at University of Maryland. The responses, every attendee was the CEO of a company, and they had some incredible stories to tell, and learned a lot. And my goodness, you're running a $2.4 billion operation. Do you have a story that you could share with us about that moment where which was pivotal for you, where there was a transformation for you, that you'd be willing to share?
I mean, I can't say it's one individual moment, Gigi, but I can say the following to all of you, and I hope you see it the same way. So for the first time in your lives, in my life, something that happened on the other side of the planet affected every human being on the planet. That's never happened in your life. It's never happened in my life. Didn't happen for the last 100 years. If that doesn't shake you or move you, then you're not a human being. If that doesn't tell you that we're all interconnected in some way as human beings on this planet, then there's something wrong with you. If the events of George Floyd on May 20th of 2020 didn't affect any one of you, then there's something wrong with you as a human being. If the uncertainty in our democracy didn't affect you, then there's something wrong with you if you believe in democracy in this country. So it wasn't one event. It was the entire year of 2020. It's a pivotal and an inflection point for the human race on the planet, not just us in the United States. So we as a people have an opportunity to make this world a better place, or to continue the things that we always do. I happen to work in higher education. You happen to work in other spaces, but I choose to focus on doing the public good, which includes technology, it includes policy, but it's making this planet a better place for the people that live on this planet. That's my job. I'm happy to be a president, and my job is to inspire the next generation to solve those grand challenges that the world is facing so that we don't have these issues, hopefully, anymore. And I hope you all see it the same way I see it. And you all just as influential as I am. And it's just a choice. What do you want to work on as human beings on the planet? Or do you want the same things to continue to happen in our society, or should we make our society better? I choose to try to make it better.
Very
I'm not,
inspiring.
I'm not here to
Thank you.
lecture you. By the way, I'm not here to lecture you.
No,
I'm
I
just
asked a
giving
question
you
and I
my
got a
perspective.
great answer. Thank you. I'm inspired and I agree. And Mr. Chair, I do see a hand raised.
Yeah, I see Andy's got his hand raised there behind. He's got the big M right behind him there, so better be a good one, Andy.
Dr. Pines, how are you? It's
How are you,
good,
Andy?
good to see you again.
Yes.
All I wanted to say was this. What you just said is one of the reasons we are so proud to have you as our president.
Thank you.
And I think it is, as a proud graduate, 1978, and having paid many tuitions to the University of Maryland, it is really an honor to have you as the president. And the things that you have in your strategic plan that you've shared is amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing the results over the next several years. So go Terps.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. Thanks for your support.
And I know we're coming up on the end of the hour here, but maybe I'll just end it unless somebody else has a question with maybe a little more lighthearted. Maybe it's not lighthearted to you, but I'm curious. How important do you see the athletic department at the University of Maryland how does that fit into your vision? Is it more pain than it's worth? Or is it something about the athletic that really is an important fabric of what your vision is for the university?
So, great question, Lowell. I get asked that question a lot. My answer is the following. The athletic department is an integral part of the University of Maryland experience. It is one door that if it opens up for you, it opens up several other doors for you, and it opens up doors for the university. And so what do I mean by that? So if you're a student athlete and it's your opportunity to get a world-class college education and an opportunity to play your sport and to contribute to the spirit of the university, then it opens that door. If you're an alum or a business person and you happen to love athletics and you want to come and see a great game at Xfinity and it opens up that door, then it opens up a potential collaboration with the university. It opens up another door for you. So I see it as one of our integral parts of what makes the University of Maryland special and how it opens up doors for a variety of stakeholder groups that allows us to be the best. And athletics is simply one mechanism to connect people, and it tends to do a pretty good job of doing that. And so that's how I see it. Now, on a larger note, intercollegiate athletics is undergoing an incredible uprising in its structure, in everything, in its business model, in its framework, in its governance, and its the role of the student athlete. So we are going to see some changes here coming in the next 12 to 24 months that will be probably fairly radical to many of you, because it cannot continue in its current form. And what I mean is we believe in the Big Ten that the role of the student athlete is still a student, not an employee. Some other folks in the country believe that the role of the student athlete is an employee. And so we're at odds with one another in the intercollegiate athletics industry, and it's going to have a shakeup because of all of that pressure. How it exactly goes, I can't predict, but I know that it will have some changes that are being driven by a couple of things. The legal cases that have just been adjudicated. So we have name, image, and likeness, which now has been around for a couple of years. We have some looming cases that, if they go in favor of the student athlete, will literally by themselves force an employee model. So now at the point where we are, it's time to get ahead of that and to define where we really want it to go. And so that's kind of what's been going on over the last, I would say, 6 to 12 months in a number of different discussions between the Power Five conferences. So, so the model will change. The product will still be the same, but the model, the business model, the governance model will change to accommodate greater flexibility and to eliminate antitrust issues. And I know I could go and talk about this for an hour, so, but I don't need to.
Very good. Got some heady stuff, probably more than I even anticipated. You see some very big changes coming, but very good. So I don't know if anybody, we've got 2 minutes. Does anybody have a last minute question, or Gigi, you would like to add anything? I know I'm just, I'm sorry, please.
I believe we had one more question from Ms. Cindy
Okay.
Chow. I'm gonna put on the screen.
Yeah, very quick question. I have a 6 p.m. meeting. So thank you, Dr. Pine, for the beautiful message. I just have a quick question. Wondering about your enrollment of the international students currently and maybe also in the near future. Another question is, today I had the chance to talk to a lady from the executive program offered by George Mason University. So last 2 or 3 years, many international visitors, they couldn't come, so they had to stop many programs. I'm wondering in at your university, how does that look like? And what would you maybe project for the future, this exchange or international program?
Yeah, great question, Cindy. So what happened, so just like everybody else in 2020, we had a lower enrollment of international graduate students, but it's rebounded. So by 2022 now, we are actually above our international enrollment of 2020 significantly by more than 1,000. And so we're back to where we were pre-pandemic, 2019. We're back to the 2019 numbers now in 2022. So that's what we're seeing at College Park. In our master's programs across the university, we're also seeing an uptick in enrollment, including international students. So we feel like we are back very close to where we were in 2019 and 2018. So that's a good sign. It shows that there's still interest out there internationally, and that it was simply an issue of the pandemic, plus some other issues, as you know, politically in our government. And now that we have a new government, it appears that we are rebounding back to those graduate numbers that we saw before.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So again, Dr. Pines, thank you so much. We would like to invite you back. I think you bring insights on all kinds of different things, even beyond the University of Maryland. So very good. So Gigi, I don't know if you would like to say anything, but thank you, and really appreciate your time.
And we will be, we're so proud to have you, and we will also be posting this great discussion, and we're grateful that you are our guest speaker this evening, and you're a good friend year round, and so is your entire team, and it's really an honor and a privilege to be able to work with you and you know, all of the partners that you bring together who are our partners as well. But we will be making this available to our board members. We'll be sending a link out to all of you, and of course, Dr. Pines, your team will have access to this as well. You have some great pieces in here. I hope you grab some of them and use them for social media and other purposes, because they're fabulous. But with that, on behalf of the team, I guess I would ask that everybody just join me in a quick happy administrative day for Juliet, who bless her heart, has been with us for a decade, and she's more than. And thank you, Juliet, for making all of this happen. And I want to thank the members of the board and all of our guests that joined us today. But again, thank you, Dr. Pines, and thank you, Mr. Chair. With that, back over to you, sir.
Good night, everybody. The meeting's ended. So thank you again. Good night.
Yes, thank you.